This is Jackson County Government Close-Up, your source for news and information from your county government. Join us this hour for in-depth conversation, viewer call-ins, and a chance to meet those in county government working for you.
We can't alert you if we can't reach you. Sign up now for Jackson County Citizen Alert.
I get emergency alerts on my cell phone.
My kids' school alerts by text.
Alerts to my business come to my email.
I made sure Mom and Dad's alerts go to their phone first, mine second.
But we can't alert you if we can't reach you. So sign up now at jacksoncounty.org/alert and get your alert exactly like you want it. Citizen Alert. It's free, so sign up today.
You are watching Jackson County Government Close-Up. We are spending the hour talking about Citizen Alert. Tonight is the 15th of September, so it's a live show tonight, and we do rebroadcast throughout the month. But for the last couple of weeks, there have been commercials out there and a campaign showing Citizen Alert. Some folks at home maybe have seen it, asking them to go to a website, jacksoncountygovernment.org/alert, and take some action. So really, what is Citizen Alert, first of all?
It's essentially a reverse 911 system where the county is able to pick specific geographic regions and send out an alert, whether that be an emergency or with the opt-in process, they can get informed of road closures or possibly hostage situations in their neighborhood, and that's what the opt-in portion is. The regular 911 database we have, and we do have the ability to send out emergency notices and evacuations to those, but what we don't have is the cell phone numbers. That's not part of your 911 database download, and so we're encouraging people to opt in with your cell phones and give us a way to contact you during an emergency.
Yeah, so yeah, just to recap what you said there, really reverse 911 originally has a database for landlines.
Correct.
And now that this world is very much different than it was 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, where everyone had a landline. That was the norm.
Right.
That's no longer the case. I've eliminated my home landline
right.
As well. And people are choosing to get their information differently, whether
Correct.
it's through email because they're hanging out at work all day and they're in front of a computer for 8 to 10 hours, or via text message. And so this system allows you to do more than just get that telephone call.
And if you have just a hard line, that's fine. You're going to be in the database already. Mm-hmm. But what we're encouraging people to opt in, even if you already just have a hard line, is it enables us to contact you with different mediums, because you can go in with your same address and phone number and choose if you want to be contacted during community events or road closures, or if you want to receive this information via email or to your work phone, especially because people aren't always at home when these events happen, but they can get notified by opting in and inserting their work phone number or other phone numbers. So it's a great tool to keep people apprised of what's going on in their geographic region.
Yeah, and it's really much more too than just maybe one straight call.
Oh yes, it's 5 different mediums?
Yeah, the nice thing about it is that it's very customizable, and the person signing up can choose how they want to be notified. As you mentioned, some people don't have a landline telephone anymore. There are people I know who barely make phone calls anymore. They just text everything.
Yeah.
And if you want to receive your messages via text, you can do that. If you're an emailer, you can receive them via email. You can receive them via all those methods. If you've registered your home phone, your office phone, your email address, your text message, your cell phone, you can tell us in what order you want to be contacted, and the system will keep trying you at all those methods until you confirm that you got the message.
Yeah. What I find interesting as well with this system isn't necessarily just your home location. So if you want to be informed about what's going on near your work, you can tell the system to give you information in regards to that. Maybe you have family in the area that you're concerned about their safety as well. So you can set up multiple locations for this, is that right?
Yeah, actually you can list up to 5 locations associated with your phone number. So if your parents, as you mentioned, live rural and you want to know if they received the evacuation notice, it would come to you. The same way with the kids' school. You can list that address and associate it with your number. So anytime something happens within those addresses that you list, you're going to get notified also.
Yeah.
It's also useful if, for example, maybe you grew up here and your parents are still here, but now you live in Florida. You could register your parents' address and be notified, even though you're in Florida, that there's something happening at your parents' house here in Jackson County.
And that web address is www.jacksoncounty.org/alert. And we will, later in this program, walk you through a tutorial with the help of Mark Decker, show you exactly how it works and the uniqueness of this system. But for now, if you want to write a web address down, it's www.jacksoncounty.org/alert. And stay tuned later on, and we'll show you and we'll walk you through that system for you. The system comes from Everbridge is the name of the company that powers this. How did you go about identifying this and figuring out this was the system to use?
Well, we had a long selection process. When we were looking at vendors to do this, we had a system previously that was basically a server, some hardware and software that we installed at our location in Jackson County. When we went to go replace it, we wanted to do something based on the newer technology. Back then, when we bought that system, it was about 9 years ago, that was the way things were done, but that system had very little capacity. It could only make about 900 calls an hour. Nowadays, everything's web-based. And because of that, using voice over IP technology and these web-based service providers, we could get access to far more capacity. And we put out an RFP to get solicitations from vendors, and we had about 10 people express interest, and we culled that down to a list of finalists. And the things we were looking for were things like, how many calls can you make in an hour? And the solution that we ended up with can make tens of thousands of calls per hour. Theoretically, it could call everyone in the county, in an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it's really got a lot of capacity. It can basically make calls as fast as the local phone network can receive them. So we went through this long process of choosing based on security and capacity and the responsiveness of the vendor and how easy it is for the end users, for the citizen who's opting in. We wanted something that would be easy for them to use and that they would like.
Same system being used in Connecticut, is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. The entire state of Connecticut has adopted this system as their emergency notification system. I believe Los Angeles County. There's a variety of counties and cities across the country that use this same vendor's technology.
Very good. What types of emergencies are we talking about that people will get notified? Is there a set list? Is it a judgment call? How does it get determined?
On emergencies, that falls under the county's job for alert and notification. And we're talking about flooding areas. We want to warn people that you're in a flood zone, or especially during fires and evacuations, and we want to be able to clear out an area and tell them which way to go. We don't want people just going helter-skelter. We want to give them informed information about what's happening in their region and advise them to evacuate to a certain point. So it has a lot of tools outside of that, but for an emergency aspect, it's anything that has to do where we need to warn the citizens within that geographic region quickly.
Yeah. You bring up a good point. You get the call that says you need to leave or evacuate, and you don't want people going helter-skelter. That just may exacerbate the situation. So from a preparedness standpoint, it's more than, citizens need to really pay attention to what could happen. So, I'm talking emergency preparedness, and Tricia, you're a preparedness coordinator in Health and Human Services for Jackson County. What can you tell us in terms of people being prepared? Because, we talked a couple days ago about this, and I thought to myself, I don't think I'm prepared. If I were to get a call or that sort of thing, I would have to make something up on the spot, but that's probably not a smart thing.
Actually, you really need to be prepared ahead of time, because when a disaster happens, it's really too late. So individual preparedness is very important, but it's easy as 1, 2, 3. You can get an emergency kit, make a plan, and be informed. And for getting a kit, again, it's very simple. You can start with getting a container. Maybe that old suitcase you haven't used, the tub in the garage that has some old things in it, clean it out and start with your container. And then things you may already have around the house. Start with food and water. You may have some canned goods around the house, and don't forget the manual can opener to go with it. Start with those, put them in your kit. Maybe you have an extra flashlight around, Put it in your kit with some batteries, extra blanket. A lot of discount stores have water for less than $1 a gallon, and every month just add a couple more gallons of water. You should have 2 gallons per person per day, 1 for drinking and 1 for sanitizing, hand washing. So right there, you've got a great start for getting a kit. Second thing is you want to make a plan. Again, when a disaster happens, it's too late, so plan ahead. And you really want to plan where you're going to go and how you're going to contact each other. Where are you going to meet? You maybe have kids at school, people at work, out running errands. So decide ahead of time where you're going to meet, and then secondly, how you're going to contact each other. Landlines may be down because of the emergency. Even sometimes cell phones don't work, but texting often does. So decide how you're going to contact each other. A real quick plan for texting is just 4 letters, IMOK, for I'm okay. And then you can decide later how we're going to get in touch with everyone, where they're at, but at least you're going to know they're okay. So individual preparedness, get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Citizen Alert is one of the great ways to be informed. You can get those community alerts. Also, you can be informed, Jackson County has Jackson County Emergency Preparedness for Family booklets. They were grant funded. They're free to community citizens. Has some good information on fire preparedness, earthquake preparedness. And if you'd like a copy, you can go to the website, www.jacksoncounty.org. In the search, put preparedness. Up will come the preparedness page. You can download, read it, download the information you want, or go to contact us. Preparedness phone number is there, as well as there's an email form that you can fill out and just put preparedness with the information. Leave us your name and address, and we'll make sure you get a free copy. So great way to prepare, get a kit, make a plan, stay informed, and sign up for opt-in for Citizen Alert.
I need to get a kit, no doubt about it. I don't. And as you were going through that, I thought, okay, so you gather that old suitcase and get some canned foods in there and water. Certainly, if you need to evacuate, you need to be able to take that with you, yeah?
Right.
So make sure it's in a spot where
since we're talking emergency preparedness here, and this is the mantra that we've been trying to get the message out for a number of years, especially from emergency management, because we're really talking about 2 types of preparedness here. If you live in rural areas that are subject to fire, making the go kit, as we're talking about here, things for you to take with you and be self-sufficient when you leave. But we're also talking about preparedness in your home, because a lot of situations may happen where you're going to shelter in place, and you may be without water, or you may be without electricity. But we don't want you to go somewhere. We don't have anything that would hold a venue of a large people. So we want people to be self-reliant, to stay in their home for 3 to 5 days. And that means the same things. You got to store food, water, batteries, and in some instances, sanitary supplies. So we want you to be prepared to exist at home for 3 to 5 days with no amenities, or be able to up and go. And you know where you live, whether that's a possibility, whether you're in the flood zone next to the Rogue River, whether you're living in the rural areas that are subject to fires. And we want to make sure that everybody is prepared, because government, anything that happens to you has generally happened to the people who are in the government too, and we're not instantaneously responding. So we want people to be comfortable knowing that they can exist here for a few days.
Yeah, so good numbers you threw out there. 3 to 5 days is what you need to be prepared for. And you mentioned the water, 2 gallons per person per day?
Right, you want to have 2 gallons per person per day, 1 for drinking, 1 for sanitizing. But you also need to remember that if you have any special needs, such as you might have someone who has oxygen needs or special needs, then you're going to need additional water. Children, breastfeeding mothers need additional water. And you don't want to forget your pets as well. You need to be prepared for pets. They're going to need water just like we do. So that's really the minimum that you want to start with.
Yeah, good stuff. Very good. All right, well, we are spending the hour talking about Citizen Alert, a somewhat new system for Jackson County and how it does pertain to you and needing to opt in. Let's take a closer look now at how that system got to Jackson County and how the teamwork between the county and the cities are really, is really helping to make this work well.
We can't alert you if we can't reach you. Sign up now for Jackson County Citizen Alert.
I get emergency alerts on my cell phone.
My kids' school alerts by text.
Alerts to my business come to my email.
I made sure Mom and Dad's alerts go to their phone first, mine second.
But we can't alert you if we can't reach you. So sign up now at jacksoncounty.org/alert and get your alert exactly like you want it. Citizen Alert. It's free, so sign up today.
So what really brought this into focus was the Siskiyou fire and the Deer Ridge fire. During those fires, we had to evacuate an area of homes that were being threatened by the fire. And at that time, we had a really old reverse 911 system that didn't have very much capacity, and it actually didn't work properly during the fire. And we realized it was time to replace that system. Technology had come a long way, and we wanted to be able to have a lot more functionality like the Citizen Alert system has, where people could be notified via means other than landline telephones.
We had observed nationwide some systems, some callback systems that didn't work very well. In Colorado, there was the instance of a callback system failed at a pretty critical time in a wildland fire. And so it was pretty well known, or pretty well received, that we needed to have a system that county-wide was going to work, and it was going to reach the right people with the right message.
Well, for the city of Ashland, any system would have been an upgrade because we didn't have one. And that really came into play on the Siskiyou fire several years ago because we wanted to launch evacuation notifications and couldn't. We, at that point, basically had our 1700 radio, emergency radio that the city of Ashland operates, and also a smoke and wildfire hotline. Both of those systems were overwhelmed almost immediately and basically became dysfunctional. They've since been upgraded, but we were looking to do that and really create a triad, if you will, of communication outreach. And the mass notification system is really the optimum.
We really felt it was important to have a regional solution so that all the emergency officials in the whole area could cooperate and use the same system, and so that individual cities and the county didn't have to buy their own separate systems and pay their own separate price. By combining our efforts, combining our funds, we were able to buy a better system for less money, encourage cooperation between the agencies, and Jackson County Emergency Management was able to get a federal grant to cover the first 2 years of the cost of the system. And that's a great savings to the taxpayers of the county.
We worked very closely with Medford, and particularly Jackson County, and the emergency manager there, Mike Curry, had been looking to upgrade the teleminder system as well. So the timing was there, and he had some grant funds coming in, and it really has worked quite well. I think that hats off to Jackson County, the marriage, and anytime you have a partnership of multiple jurisdictions, I'm sure it can be a challenge, but it really has gone off quite well.
It is very important that the county and all the cities and fire districts and jurisdictions work together and collaborate on this project. We work inside of a very regionalized system. No standalone individual entity can do everything all by itself. And so on any major incident, any incident where we would use the Everbridge system, there will be multiple jurisdictions involved and potentially multiple jurisdictions that need to get multiple messages out to multiple people groups. If we take the Deer Ridge fire that happened in Medford in 2009, the fire started inside the city limits of Medford. It was adjacent to a very large suburban residential housing area. It started in the city limits, it spread into the rural fire district, and ultimately it spread into the Oregon Department of Forestry protected lands. It affected multiple jurisdictions, in this case from around the state, and there was the potential that we were going to have to do widespread evacuations to some of these suburban subdivisions and also some of the rural homes that were kind of scattered throughout. So I can see in a situation like that when you need to get a very specific message out in a very timely manner to a select group of people, that the Everbridge system is very well suited for that. The reason that I like Everbridge is because of the multiple ways of notifying people. So you could use the example of somebody who lives in a certain location but works in a different location and maybe has their children go to school in a third location. And I'm talking a fairly large regional area. To be able to set up multiple notifications for multiple areas, and also they could reach you via text message or email or all these communication methods. To me, that was a big seller.
It's probably becoming increasingly important because the number of conventional landlines or home phones that are hardwired in is being reduced all the time. People are relying more and more on cell phones. If you're relying strictly on cell phones and you don't opt in, you will not receive an emergency message. It's not going to get to you. We have no way of knowing that. So there's a couple advantages to opting in. One is you, again, can define how you're notified and what priority. If you feel that the best way to get a hold of you is through your cell phone, then you can decide, well, is it going to be voice or text? All cell phones will receive text. We encourage text because when the cell phone network is compromised, text will get through quicker than voice. But that's your call. The other thing is you can receive messages about areas of concern, maybe not your residence, your kid's school, your parents' residence, other areas that you may have concern about your business. Also, friends and relatives outside the area, if they're concerned, say they have elderly parents in this area, they can opt in through Medford, Ashland, Jackson County, and they will in turn receive notifications about their area of concern, their parents' house or what have you. So it really does broaden the usefulness of the system. It's state of the art.
Also, the ease of launching the messages. When we're in the middle of a large-scale event, we don't have time to fight a system or to relearn a system or to try and figure out how to make the thing work. And Everbridge seems it's very simple to launch the message when you need to let it go.
We did have our first notification go out. It wasn't an emergency notification. It's what they classify as a community notification. And when people opt in, they can opt in for a variety of notifications. The emergency is understood, and we would launch those anyway. But people can also opt in for missing persons, public works event, or other, and this classifies as a public works event. We had the central portion of Ashland experience a failure of one of our electrical substations due to an animal crossing the connectors with predictable results. And anyway, we lost electrical power to the majority of the community. So we were able to launch that notification, and it went out to those who have opted in to receive those miscellaneous community-based notifications, not an emergency.
We really want to make sure that we're the ones putting out the message, because we've run into situations in the past where a message was perpetuated by non-official means, and it was well-meaning or not, it was the wrong message, and it can really cause consternation among the public, but it clearly causes confusion and potentially danger. So we want to make sure that we have the ability to give the correct message to the people.
So the biggest challenge for us in getting this rolled out to the community was not really setting up the system. It's a web-based system, and that made it relatively easy and quick to deploy. It's really getting the word out, getting people to register, because if people don't register, it doesn't have nearly as much value as it does if people put in their cell phones and other ways to contact them. If people register, then we can reach them wherever they are instead of just only landline telephones.
We can't alert you if we can't reach you. Sign up now for Jackson County Citizen Alert.
I get emergency alerts on my cell phone.
My kids' school alerts by text.
Alerts to my business come to my email.
I made sure Mom and Dad's alerts go to their phone first, mine second.
But we can't alert you if we can't reach you. So sign up now at jacksoncounty.org/alert and get your alert exactly like you want it. Citizen Alert. It's free, so sign up today. We can't alert you if we can't reach you. Sign up now for Jackson County Citizen Alert.
I get emergency alerts on my cell phone.
My kids' school alerts by text.
Alerts to my business come to my email.
I made sure Mom and Dad's alerts go to their phone first, mine second.
But we can't alert you if we can't reach you. So sign up now at jacksoncounty.org/alert and get your alert exactly like you want it. Citizen Alert. It's free, so sign up today.
You are watching Jackson County Government Close Up, and we are talking about Citizen Alert in the program. And on that piece there, you got a good understanding of really the collaborative effort between Jackson County and the cities within the county. And I want to expand more on that if possible. Mark, we have talked about it. It's very important that all the municipalities really work together on this.
Right, and we really did. It was very much a cooperative effort with Jackson County and Medford and Ashland on several fronts. We had emergency management with Jackson County working directly with the fire and police departments, and we had the technology departments coordinating as well. I was working with my counterpart and the city of Medford and city of Ashland to really bring all the teams together and hammer out how we were going to use this system together. And in the process itself was valuable in that we were able to build additional channels of communication between the agencies, so that was very helpful.
Yeah, Chief Carnes for Ashland was able to use the system, I believe, for the first time. So the notification has gone out. How did that go? Was it effective? Do we have any results to talk about?
Yeah.
Well, I know that it went out to a great number of people, and the calls that I received, because when you get the message on your cell phone, there will be the callback number. And so I went out to the EOC and retrieved those messages and actually talked to people. And it was so effective that the people saw that this number had called them. They had opted in, and they wondered why we called them. And then I had to explain what had happened. They had an alert, and it wasn't verified by their cell phone. And if they listed other paths of communication, it went to one of those, or it repeated again until they. And I think John only sent it out for one. Yeah. So, but it worked.
It definitely worked. In fact, I happen to live here in Ashland, and my neighbor across the street called me up all excited to say, "It works! I got my alert," when they had the power outage. So she'd forwarded me the email that she'd received, and she'd also received a call on her cell phone, and so.
So they were thrilled to have a situation where they needed some sort of glad to have the power outage.
Yeah.
Dry run.
Yeah, exactly. How does that notification go out? Is it computer generated? Is it a human speaking into it and really being specific with the message?
Actually, you could go either way.
Okay.
I think it's more effective if they hear a real voice instead of a text-to-voice machine, a computer. But it's very effective. It gets out there. You can determine whether or not you want to send the message or just type in the message and it'll go out. It's pretty simple. The hardest part, I think, is just pulling up the map and identifying exactly where you want it to go.
Yeah. And so the system doesn't automatically know if there's an emergency and automatically send out a message. Obviously, there's people doing this, and it's the officials within the agencies who are sending out the message. And to touch on what Mike said, the system has a geographic map where he can bring up any area of the county, focus in on an area, select the area that he wants to notify, and then any points within that area where people have opted in or where there's a telephone number in the database from the 911 database will receive that notification, and places outside that area will not.
How is it determined in the non-emergency situations when to send something out? Emergency situations seem to dictate themselves. But we're talking road hazards or closures and other sorts of things. So is there a
guideline?
I
think Chief Carnes just demonstrated that by it wasn't an emergency, but it was a way to communicate with the affected populace. So he sent out this notice saying, it's okay, we have a power outage and you'll have it back within a couple hours. Yeah. And so it's really up to the individual municipalities who are currently registered to do this, which is Ashland and Medford, how they use it. Like the Public Works, before they close a street or they're doing major repairs, will generally go out and hang door flyers and things like that to let the residents know. This is another tool for Public Works on people who have opted in to want to know about road closures or anything municipal road problem going on in their neighborhood. they will get the message with that also. I think Public Works will still continue to with the door hangers and neighborhoods letting them know, but it's just another tool to make sure everybody gets notified that this way home is not going to be here tomorrow. Perhaps you need to plan a different route.
Yeah. And it's a much different world I brought up before. People really want that information. They want it now, and that's why they carry mobile devices, or they've got an email constantly up at work. Whether you work heavily with email or not, you always have something at your computer. So people are able to be notified should they choose to do that. Emergencies, and we're talking about being prepared and that sort of thing. September happens to be National Preparedness Month. I want to ask you, Tricia, from a Health and Human Services standpoint, how important is it that September gets that awareness out there, and how are you participating from a preparedness standpoint in it being National Preparedness Month?
Well, as you mentioned, Tom, it is National Preparedness Month, and this year's theme is a time to remember, a time to prepare, because this does mark the 10th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. There's been a lot of anniversary kind of venues and activities around September 11th, and that's really the time to remember. And the second part of that is the time to prepare. So this is a perfect opportunity for people to prepare individually. We talked a few minutes ago about getting their emergency kit together, making a plan about where they're going to meet and how they're going to contact each other, and staying informed. But part of that actually is public health preparedness as well. This is fall, we're going to go into winter soon, and flu season will be upon us. And so getting your flu shot is really a good way to prepare as well for any type of health hazards. You've seen probably a lot of the pharmacies have signs out now, flu shots available. Public Health also has, Jackson County Public Health has flu shots available. No appointments necessary. You can walk in Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 11:30 or 1 to 4. And Public Health is at 1005 East Main Street, Building A. You can see an electronic reader board sign out front. That's where you want to go and get your flu shot. So at 1005 East Main Street, Building A.
We've all driven past it thousands of times, and probably those that don't know that's what they're driving past. Yeah, good reference point. I don't think the public really is aware that what you just stated in terms of getting a flu shot, just walking in, no appointment necessary, and being able to do that. Good information. The last couple of years, the flu shots really seem to have, at least the public awareness of it and getting the information out, seems to really spiked, certainly with the H1N1 situation a couple of years ago, and then last year being preventative. Have we noticed a difference in the community in terms of flu vaccination and that sort of thing? Can you speak to that?
Well, my hope is that H1N1, although it was a very unfortunate event with illness, and we also had some deaths with H1N1, hopefully that brought home to people that every year they need to have a flu shot, because this could be the typical flu year, and hopefully you don't get the flu, but we don't know, and so the hope is that everyone now is a lot more aware that a flu shot is necessary. And after H1N1, they actually changed the regulations and are recommending it for anyone who is 6 months or older to get a flu shot. Certainly if you have any health conditions, check with your provider, or you can also check with Public Health when you go in if you have any specific questions about whether you're eligible or not.
You mentioned it being the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and just made me think, is that what sparked September being National Preparedness Month? Do you know, or was it prior to 10 years ago, or is that something that came about because of that?
It actually came about because of the September 11th attacks in 2001. It was just a short time after that they decided September would be National Preparedness Month.
Yeah. Very good. Anything else along those lines to get across?
Just remember, it's a good time to get your flu shot.
Okay, very good. Outstanding. We talked about this system, the Citizen Alert, being an updated system. Can you reference how the old system worked? And you had it for about 10 years, I think.
We had it for 8 years.
Okay.
And as Mark mentioned, it only made 980 calls an hour.
Yeah.
And it was just the 911 database, which was just hardline phones.
Yeah.
And even then, we were starting to get more cell phones, but we did not have a way to contact those people. There was not an opt-in portion to get registered. I had to make a separate file for the people who contacted me wanting to be notified, but then I would have to, because we never really used it on emergency, but we had tested, and I would have to go to that file and add the individual people because they weren't in the geographic database. So when I would send that test or message in theory, I would have to go back in that file and pull out the ones that it applied to. So this system is much simpler. There's not the hardware to degrade on site. They're all responsible for it. So, and it's web-based. We can access it from anywhere. And if you're in a spot where you can't do it, you can actually call them and they will do it for you.
Yeah, that's actually a really important point. The old system, because it was a piece of software and a server, Mike could only get to it if he was in the office. If the office burned down, there was no access to the system. This one, because it's internet-based, it's in the cloud, anybody from anywhere. In fact, you can even launch a notification via a cell phone. So if Chief Carnes is out there and he's on site fighting a fire and he wants to launch a notification, he can do it via his smartphone.
Your job's done, right? It's a piece of cake now, right?
Well, that was the original intent, was to satisfy me. And me, all I wanted was to be able to go to a map, identify the area that needs to be notified, and I was done. But turning over this research to Mark and his crew, for 9 months, they did all the heavy lifting. Because I'm very simple to please. I just want to be able to send out an alert. But Mark and his crew really researched and found a great system that even the other municipalities are on board with because it has a lot of internal uses also.
It's important to point out again that the cost, able to get a grant and save taxpayers a nice amount of money.
Yeah, definitely. Mike was able to get a federal grant that covered the entire implementation cost as well as the first 2 years of operating costs. So that was a great savings to the taxpayers. You know, the cost of it is, considering everything that it does, it's pretty cheap. And if it saves a life, you know, it's an incredible bargain.
We are talking about Citizen Alert, and the website to go to is www.jacksoncounty.org/alert, and from there you'll be able to opt in. We are doing this hour-long program really to continue to get the word out to Jackson County residents that they need to go to the website and need to opt in. And you'll be pleasantly surprised at the ease at which you can do it, and you'll be surprised at the number of ways you can be notified in case of an emergency and some non-emergency situations. And that being said, we've talked about the website. I think now is a good time to actually show the folks at home, you watching, how easy it is. So I've got a tutorial here for you with the help of Mark Decker, and he'll walk you through the system and put you at ease.
We can't alert you if we can't reach you. Sign up now for Jackson County Citizen Alert.
I get emergency alerts on my cell phone.
My kids' school alerts by text.
Alerts to my business come to my email.
I made sure Mom and Dad's alerts go to their phone first, mine second.
But we can't alert you if we can't reach you. So sign up now at jacksoncounty.org/alert and get your alert exactly like you want it. Citizen Alert. It's free, so sign up today.
Hi, I'm Mark Decker, Technology Director for Jackson County, and today I'm going to show you how to register for the Citizen Alert Emergency Notification System. Reverse 911 allows county or city officials, such as fire, police departments, emergency management, to contact you if there's an emergency affecting a location you care about. For example, if there was a fire and it was affecting your neighborhood, we could use this system to rapidly notify people and evacuate the neighborhood. Now, the system already has the ability to call landline telephones. But what happens if you don't have a landline telephone? Maybe you only have a cell phone. Or what if you're not home when the emergency occurs? Great thing about this system is it allows you to register those other forms of contact and receive notifications via text message, mobile phone, work phone, or email. So let's show you how it works. All you have to do is go to our Citizen Alert website at www.jacksoncounty.org/alert. And that takes you to the registration page for Citizen Alert. If you've already signed up, you can manage your profile and change your information. But if you're never signed up before, you just click on the Sign Up button. And there's 3 easy steps to registering. The first is to create an account. And if you've ever created an account for Gmail or Amazon or any of the many online merchants, this will look familiar to you. You'll create a username and you'll enter a password. Be sure to choose one you can remember. You'll be asked to confirm your password, and you'll be asked to enter an email address. You'll also be asked to answer or provide a security question so that if you forget your password, the system can remind you. Click Accept Terms of Use. There's a CAPTCHA just to prevent spam. And Submit. In the next step, you'll tell the system who you are and which locations you care about, and have an opportunity to tell officials about special needs you may have or volunteer skills that you may offer. The second step allows you to specify what types of alerts you want to receive. For example, in addition to emergency alerts, you can receive notification about a person missing or about significant road closures or other important information. These aren't emergencies, but it might be things you'd want to know. Then you'll tell us about you. You'll put in your name, last name, and indicate whether you have special needs or volunteer skills. For example, if a person in the house needs a wheelchair or has medications that depend on a refrigerator, you'll be able to indicate this, and this might be useful to emergency responders. Also, if you have volunteer skills that might be useful in an emergency, such as medical training, if you're a member of a CERT team, or maybe you're a search and rescue member. And you'll be able to tell us what locations you care about. This might be your home, your office, your children's school, your mother's house, whatever it might be. You'll give it a name, such as home, and a street address, such as and a city, and state, and zip code. Click Save Location, and now you've added that location as a place you care about. And you do the same thing for your home address. You can have up to 5 locations that you can receive alerts about. If you need to go back in and edit, you just click the Edit button. Step 3 is where you tell us how to contact you, and you can specify a lot of different contact paths, such as your mobile phone, work phone, email, additional home phone numbers, and it's really simple. All you need to do is enter your phone numbers. You can enter a home phone, a mobile phone. You can enter your work phone. You can also enter email addresses and a place to receive text messages, which for most people is your cell phone. After you've entered your contact paths, you can then specify in what order you want to be contacted for each type of alert. So you can choose a different way of being contacted for emergency alerts than for community alerts. Community alerts would be things like road closures, things that aren't emergencies. So maybe if it's an emergency, you want to be contacted first via your cell phone, second via your home phone, and third via your work phone. But if it's not an emergency, you want us to just leave a message on your home phone. This allows you to tell us how you'd like to be notified. You can customize your preferences and come back and change them anytime. So if you need to change your information, let's say your phone number or your email address changes, or you move out of the area and you want to delete your profile, you just click on the Manage Profile button. Enter the username and password you created in step 1. And if you forgot your username or password, you can click one of these links and it'll email you a reminder. Then just click Login. Here you'll be able to manage your profile. You can edit your subscriptions, which types of alerts you want to receive. You can edit your information, and you can edit the locations you care about, as well as your contact information. If you move out of the area and want to delete your profile, you'll just click the Delete My Profile link. So as you can see, it's easy to sign up for Citizen Alert, and we hope every Jackson County resident will sign up because this system can save lives and property. Imagine, for example, being able to get notified on your cell phone if there's a problem at your elderly parent's house or at your child's school. There's lots of reasons why you might want to be notified, including not only emergency alerts, but things like road closures, information you really want to know. And since you can customize your preferences, you can receive those alerts how you like to receive them. And don't forget the web address, which is www.jacksoncounty.org/alert. And remember, if we can't reach you, we can't alert you. So sign up today.
We can't alert you if we can't reach you. Sign up now for Jackson County Citizen Alert.
I get emergency alerts on my cell phone.
My kids' school alerts by text.
Alerts to my business come to my email.
I made sure Mom and Dad's alerts go to their phone first, mine second.
But we can't alert you if we can't reach you. So sign up now at jacksoncounty.org/alert and get your alert exactly like you want it. Citizen Alert. It's free, so sign up today.
You are watching Jackson County Government Close Up. We are spending the hour talking about Citizen Alert, and as you saw there, it is an outstanding web-based program, and because it's a web-based program, there's a lot of positives behind it that we've talked about already, but maybe a little bit of a drawback for those that don't have easy access to a computer or the internet. How is the county going about trying to help and get those people to opt in?
Well, I know Lisa White, who runs the library program for the county, she is planning on holding little assistance, little seminars at the different libraries, and they will be announced. And I know Fire Chief Carnes in Ashland on the 24th is having the same type program at the Ashland Library. So these are all things that are going to be ongoing. They're not all happening today or tomorrow, but they're going to be scheduled out because this is going to be a campaign to try to get as many people in, especially in the month of September, but we'll be pushing it on in October, just trying to make sure everybody gets the word out and has the opportunity to opt in.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be present at one of these registration clinics. All the Jackson County libraries have computers with internet access, and you can go in there anytime and use one of those computers to register. You could also have someone register for you. They just need to know the information. You can give them your cell phone number and ask them to register you. So even if you don't have a computer, it shouldn't be that hard.
And it's not per household necessarily, it's per person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, a husband and wife situation where the wife works in one location, the husband another, yeah, so I think some people might have the misconception that it's, you know, my household and I need to register my house or opt in for my house. Not the case.
Actually, those are some of the ones we're trying to reach, people who may not have cell phones and only have a hardline phone, and they think they don't need to go in because they're already in the 911 database. But if you're not home when something goes on and you're at work, you can opt in and give your work phone number or your wife's work phone number, even if you don't have a cell phone, or your work email. And so there's other communication paths. So if you do have a cell phone, even though you have a hardline phone and you're thinking, oh, I don't need to worry about it, it behooves you, I like that word, behooves, to go ahead and opt in and make your presence known about how you want to be contacted.
Yeah, let's recap for those that maybe just tuned in and aren't 100% sure of what Citizen Alert is and what we're talking about. So what are we talking about?
We're talking about the county and municipalities' ability to contact you for some pertinent information that is happening in your geographic region. And that could be citywide, as Chief Carnes did a few days ago, letting everybody know that we've lost power, everything's okay, and it'll be restored. I think that was very comforting to a lot of people to receive that. But it also enables them to send out an emergency notification too, like their fires in Ashland or evacuation zones or community tidbits, so to speak, that you wanted to let the people know about, and you don't really want to wait for flyers and some of these other methods to deliver it. You can reach out and touch them.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that, you know, because we can send out both emergency alerts and community alerts, that just remind people that one of the great things about the system is you can customize how you receive these alerts and whether you want to receive them. If you only want to receive emergency alerts, you don't have to opt in to receive general information like power outages, etc. And also a question came up the other day. Somebody asked me, well, am I going to get spam if I give you my email address? Are you going to call me just because it's Tuesday? And the answer is no. One, you can opt out of those non-emergency alerts if you want to. And two, this information is only used for alert purposes, and the information you provide on the website is never shared with anyone. It's not used for marketing, and it's all secure because you'll be setting it up with your own password-protected account.
Yeah.
Another reason why our family signed up is because we could sign up for more than one area. So we signed up for our home, also our work, but my mom lives in the Rogue Valley as well. And although she's the youngest senior I know and is very active, it was really comforting for us to be able to sign up for Citizen Alert so that if there's something in her area and she doesn't have the ability to notify us immediately, Citizen Alert does. We'll be notified if there's something going on in my mom's area. So that was really comforting for us too.
Yeah, important for me too, because I'm a father. I have two desperately cute kids. And I work in Medford, their school is here. I want to know if there's something happening at their school because it takes me 20 minutes to get back here, and being able to specify not only my house, but my kids' school, the office, etc., being able to register for my information and be contacted about multiple locations, as Tricia said, that's really important to me.
JacksonCountyGovernment.org/alert. That is the web address to go to take care of this. And I think one important piece too, when you talked about maybe people having fear of being over-notified, well, I don't want to know about community events. My recommendation is to opt in for everything, and then if you find that it's bothersome to you or you realize, I don't want that, you can always go in, edit your profile, and make the adjustments, so it's not as if you are making some preferences for life for any reason.
Because at this point in time, we don't know how frequently the municipalities or the county is going to use community alerts. It's unknown yet because we're just rolling out this system. But people having the ability to say, nah, I don't really care. That's completely what the opt-in's all about.
Yeah, it's all about choices, which is what people demand nowadays. So.
Yeah, and this system from Everbridge certainly gives people a lot of choices and a lot of flexibility with those that need to use it. So we're talking about emergencies, and Trish, I think it's important to bring it up one more time, being prepared for an emergency, and really what are the steps that people should be aware of?
There's really three basic steps that we talked about before to be individually prepared. Certainly Citizen Alert is part of that, but you also need individual preparedness as well to get a kit, make a plan, and be informed. And you can start by getting a basic emergency kit. You can use a suitcase you have at home, just that tub in the garage, and start putting slowly things that you may already have around the house in the kit. Flashlight. You may have some canned goods with a manual can opener, water. Start with those basic things and put those in your emergency kit. And then to, number one, get a kit, make a plan. You want to make sure that you know how to contact each other in the case of an emergency and where you're going to meet in case of an emergency. Part of that, too, is thinking about our vulnerable populations. Children, seniors, people with disabilities. When you're doing your plan, when you're getting your kit together, you should think about any of those special needs. Children, get them involved. They'll feel less scared if something happens. They can put in the kit their favorite toy or a favorite game. Or seniors, people with disabilities, extra medications, maybe hearing aid battery, something like that. So think along those lines. And lastly, not really a vulnerable population, but part of our family is our pet. And make sure that you're thinking about pet preparedness as well. We have a duffel bag, and that's what we even take on vacations with us for our pet. Just a Ziploc bag that has extra food in it. You write it with a marker, the date, extra leash, and important is to have a photo with you and your pet so that if you get separated in an emergency, you have some way to identify that this is your pet.
Yeah, good stuff. A lot of that I didn't think of. I'm not prepared.
Well, now you can be.
No, I will take some action, and really we need the folks of Jackson County to take some action as well in terms of a citizen alert and being able to get in, to opt in. We've got a couple minutes. What have we not brought up that we need to, or anything top of mind that you want to get in?
One thing I would add, you'd asked at the beginning of the show, what types of emergencies would we be using this system to notify people about? And Mike mentioned some of the obvious ones like floods and fires and things like that, but something Tricia said reminded me that there are certain things that maybe we don't think of as emergencies that can be an emergency. The power outage that Ashland had, well, you think, well, the power's just out, but maybe 10 or 20 years ago, that was a non-event. Nowadays, there are people who have medications that have to stay refrigerated, that maybe have an oxygen machine. A power outage can be an emergency for some folks. And to your point, part of being prepared is thinking ahead of what could go wrong. What would I do if I didn't have power for 3 days? And so being prepared is thinking through, unfortunately, what's the worst that could happen.
Exactly, and as long as you've prepared and planned ahead, then you'll be able to manage that during a disaster, and you'll be able to think about those kind of resources. Again, once a disaster happens, it's too late to prepare.
Yeah. All right, so this system's in place, good thing?
It's up and running, and it's a good thing.
All right, very good.
We just got we need more people to opt in. We've had a campaign here since the 31st of August with the first press release, and everybody's seen the videos, and we had posters up. But we haven't had a flurry of people opting in. We're about 2,000, and we hope to increase that by
orders of magnitude.
Yeah. Very good. All right, well, let's take some action. www.jacksoncounty.org/alert, and the jacksoncounty.org website is a wealth of information, reference point for a lot of things. So if you're not sure what the slash is, just go to jacksoncounty.org and then you'll be able to take it from there.
Yeah, there's a hot button on the webpage.
Yeah, very good. All right, Mike Curry and Tricia Sullivan and Mark Decker, thank you very much for being here, and thanks to you for spending the hour with us. You've been watching Jackson County Government Close Up. As always, our goal with the show is to better inform you about what is happening in your government and to take a closer look at it. Thanks for watching.